All right, welcome to Frank Teaches Devils. Frank Teaches Devils. Welcome to Frank Teaches Devils. All right, welcome, my lovely viewers. Welcome to um, this beautiful week, been Monday, and yeah, I'm bringing you something. I'm bringing you something new in the Kubernetes space. Kubernetes space. All right. So quickly, that thing is called the tree. The tree. Okay. So the tree is an open source tool. It's an open source tool that enables you to detect misconfiguration in your Kubernetes manifest. Simple, simple, right? So let's keep it there. So I won't take much of your time. It's just a short video. The tree is it's an open source tool that enables you to detect misconfiguration in your Kubernetes manifest. All the while, um, you you've you've not seen a way how to test your manifest before they get deployed into your Kubernetes cluster. However, however, there is a solution now where you can test your manifest before they get deployed as a pod, as a deployment, as anything, as any Kubernetes object into your Kubernetes cluster. You need to test them first before they get deployed. And the tool for that purpose is called Datree. Datree. All right. So this is here is the catch. Oh, this guy, come up here. Okay, all right. So that's the definition for Datree, and bold it. Then here it is. Just very simple architecture. All right. So here's Datree, okay, and here's your cluster. All right. So in my cluster, I will be installing Datree. Let me duplicate this. Let me duplicate this. I'm going to install. Should I? Yeah, yeah. I'll be installing Datree in the cluster. All right. Once it's installed, voila. Going forward, you can always use Datree to to monitor misconfiguration in your manifest. All right. That's it. Okay. And so without further ado, let's hop onto the the provider's website, which is the documentation for the tree. All right. So I will be leveraging on the documentation from the tree. So the website is hub.datree.io. Hub.datree.io. So this is it. All right. So this is it. So you just click on getting started. So once you click on getting started, it's going to show you how to install that tree into your cluster. All right. So we have different platforms. We have Linux, Mac OS, Windows, Homebrew. If you're using Mac, definitely Mac OS, and yeah, Brew if you're using Brew, and Docker if you want to go Docker way. All right. But in this video, we are going the Linux way. All right. So yeah. So once it's installed, and bam, that's all. You start using that tree with kubectl. Start using that tree with kubectl, right? But before we dive into the installing of that tree, let me talk about the what and what uh, that tree validates. All right, should I do it now? All right, so let me just do it quickly. So that tree validation. Okay, so come up here. So what does it captures? Right? So what does it captures? One, it captures your YAML validation. It does YAML validation. Two, it also does um, Kubernetes schema, schema validation, and it also has some set of policies. It also does policy validation. So we're going to see all the three of what Datree does: YAML validation, Kubernetes schema validation, and policy validation. So quickly, let's go back to the documentation. So here's the documentation and how to install what's it called, Datree. So very simple. I'm going to copy this URL. Sorry, this command. Copy it. I have a cluster already. Let me see if my cluster is up. Sorry. All right. So now we have our cluster. So if I do kubectl get node, I should have yes, cluster with two worker nodes. All right. So quickly, let's go back to the hub.datree.io. So copy this installation and come back here and boom, and hit enter. So this is going to automatically download the Datree CLI, download the CLI and install it using what? Bash. So installing Datree, that's it. Downloaded Datree and finished installation. So the next um, point of action. The next point of action is the usage. This is how you use that tree. Very simple, very simple. All right, but I'm going to show some things. I'm going to show some things. Okay, so let's start using that tree. Let's start with a manifest. I have manifest on my GitHub. Let me go to my GitHub quickly. Let me go to my GitHub. Where is that guy? Marcel Dempas. I have some. All right, let me just use what I have. Let me use what I have. Let me not go this route. Let me just use what I have. Some manifests. Let me just use something. Kubernetes deploy. No, this workflow. Go back. Data dog monitoring. Let me just use some YAML. I need something simple. Something simple. Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Kubernetes, Jenkins demo, DevSecOps. Okay, Kubernetes. Let me check somewhere here. Monitoring. What do I do? Boom, 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 boom. Okay. No, this is not what I want. This is not what I want. It's too Prometheus community. I would have loved to. This is too many. I would have loved to. Okay, let me take Marcel. Let me take Marcel. Marcel. All right, Marcel Dembas. I have some examples there. Kubernetes. Go to Kubernetes. Go to Datree. All right. So let me git clone this guy. Let me git clone you. Sorry for the time wasted. Git is not there. Let me quickly install Git. Whoa, 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 whoa. Quickly install Git and let's do the magic. Quickly install Git. Great. So Git clone this guy. All right. So yes, I have it locally. So I'm going to go Marcel is there. Okay, so I'm going to go into Kubernetes is there. So what else? I'm going to go into Datree. Datree. Perfect. Perfect. Now I have some examples manifest. So I'm going to go to, so let me just do something very easy. Go into example. All right. I have a deployment manifest. So I'm going to copy this deployment. Deploy it into my home. Done. I just copy that into my home. So if I do that, I have deployment.yaml. Let's open this deployment.yaml to see something. All right. So the first thing I need to do is the first on our table is YAML validation. I need to test for YAML validation. All right. YAML validation. All right. So let me go YAML validation. Right. Now let me go out of this file. So I was using Datree. You just need to type Datree. All right. Datree space test. Test what? The manifest. Simple. The manifest. The manifest in this case is what? Deployment. I want to test this manifest before running kubectl apply minus f deployment. All right. Just keep it simple. All right. Now I want to show something. I want to make a mistake in this manifest. Let me go into this manifest and do something. Let me just put an S here. Let's put an S there. It's wrong. It's wrong. But let's watch. Let's see what that tree is capable of detecting. Right? So that tree tests and deployment. Let's see. So the moment I hit enter, bam. Why am I getting YAML validation? Is now I'm getting this green. It's telling me that the my YAML validation got passed. How? Could not find the schema for deployment. Okay, great. Okay. This was the schema. All right. That wasn't the YAML. That was the schema itself. That was the schema. Let me go back into the file. Let me go back into the file. That was the schema. All right. So by putting S there, you are modifying the version of the API. All right. That is the schema of the Kubernetes. All right. So let me leave it there. Let's come back and let me do one more thing. Let's try it again and see what happens. Okay, great. So now this is what I'm getting. I'm getting that the YAML validation passed and the schema, Kubernetes schema validation also passed, right? I'm going to fault all of that. Then here comes the policy check. Okay, here comes what? The policy check. I'm going to fault all of these. Now let's go back to that deployment file. Now let me leave the schema. This is schema, right? Let me just do something here. Watch you. Let me just put an S here. Apps. No. This is the keeper. Okay, selector or spec. Thank you. Let me just put an S here. Specs. I don't know that there was an S. There's an S there. All right. So I just before I do the deployment, I need to validate my YAML. If my YAML is correct, first. So deploy. So let's check that three on command. No. Sorry, that three tests. Sorry, that three tests. All right. So that interest, YAML is still passing. What is happening? And this is failing. Let's see. All right. Let's still. I'm not getting the proper. All right. So let me fault this YAML file. Let me fault this YAML file. I know fully well that spec and selector is not supposed to be on the same line. All right. It's spec is supposed selector is supposed to be indented. Okay, to the right. But yeah, assuming this is how it is, escape, save, and quit. So if I now do that tree test what my deployment file, okay, I should get bam. Can you see now? It's not moving past this YAML validation phase. So it's telling me that YAML validation failed. All right. So YAML validation errors. YAML line 1 did not find expected key. All right. YAML line 1. So YAML line 1 plus 1. Let me go into that file, line 1, and see. Why is it pointing? Line 1. That's the pointing line 1. This is where we made the change. So it's just to tell you that the tree is capable of detecting YAML validation, right? Great. So now let's move further. Let's edit that, keep it proper. That's what I did. That was the changes I made. Okay. So now the next set of validation, let me revalidate it and see if it's now going through. Perfect. It's now going through. You can see validation pass, then Kubernetes Kubernetes what? Kubernetes schema validation also what? Passed. Also passed. Okay, so now let me fault this Kubernetes schema validation. All right. I want to, let's say for instance, now I want to use an older API. All right. I want to use an older API to check the version of this schema. So this is what I would do. So I would say that tree test. Let's see. I want to force this thing now. So I'll say dash dash schema schema version. Let me say schema version 1 point let me say 1.18. All right, 1.18. Then deployment. Let's see if this will run. Sorry. Test schema version 1.18. This pattern schema. The specified schema version is not in the correct format. Okay, 1.18.0. Let me see. 1.18.0. All right. Okay, great. Let's see. Oh, it's still passed. Let me check schema version. Let's take 14. Let's take 14. Great. Great. Now, see what's happening now. Now I'm using schema. I'm very old Kubernetes API version, right? Very old API version. So it's not saying Kubernetes schema validation error. Could not find schema for deployment. Now, if you look, this my deployment. This my deployment is using the latest, which is apps, which is almost greater than 1.16, 1.16.0, right? So let me try using 1.16.0 and see if it will fly. 1.16, 1.16, 1.16. Let's see. It's getting past. Great. So let me try 1.15, 1.15, 1.15. Is also getting passed. So anything below 1.15, which is from 1.14, this schema is going to fail. This the check is actually going to fail. All right. So another way I could falter the schema is by if I go into the deployment and somehow which we've done before, if I use an older version, let's say if I use extension slash v1 beta 1, right? So if I use this and I try to do Datree test and deploy, all right, so let's see what happens. Bam, is going to also fail. It's going to tell us that Kubernetes validation errors could not find schema for deployment. You can skip files with missing schemas instead of failing by using ignore missing schema. So if we should use this flag, let me try using this flag. If actually you want to make use of that schema, let's see something now. Let's see. Dash dash this ignore schema. Let me see if this will fly. So actually did Um, it was a warning. There was a warning, but it did we skipped the stage. There was no check. There was no check. Once you see a question mark, it means there was no check on that on the Kubernetes schema. All right. So Kubernetes schema validation skipped. So we actually skipped this phase. Ignoring missing schema flag was used. All right. So this is how you ignore all that. So equally, we can also set all right, I will come to policy check one more time. I'll come to policy check so that so let's go and modify back our deployment, change it back from beta E1 back to R. So that was how you could, fault a Kubernetes schema deployment. So let's check now. So still having some errors. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry, apps. Why is it that? Bum 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 bum. Okay, so it's now going through, right? Great. So we can see we've seen how we could fault the YAML validation, and also seen how we could also fault the Kubernetes schema validation. So the schema is just the Kubernetes API version. All right. So now next on the list is policy check, right? Policy check. Now you can see these are the default policies that are already implemented on um, my account. All right. So let me connect with my account. So if you can see below here, I've already connected with my account. Okay, I've already connected with my account. Let's hop onto what's it called, Datree.io. So if I go to this is hub, okay, I could quickly just log in, new tab, open a new tab. So I'm going to show us something briefly, how to connect your account to your Kubernetes cluster. All right. So let's go to let me sign out, log out first. I'm out, right? So I want to log in now. Okay. So to log in now, I'll be using my Google account to log in. Okay. So use my Google account to log in. Then I'll click on this my drop down on my account profile. I'll go to settings. So on settings, I'll go to where again is it token? All right. So now, for you to connect your Datree to your Kubernetes cluster, all right, using your token, it's just a simple command. So all you need to do, you run Datree config set token, the token value. All right, so this is my token here. I'll copy this token. Copy this token. It's been copied. So I'll come over here and I'm going to launch that. I'll say Datree config set token. So token is then the token value. So token value is that. So let's see. If I hit enter, great. Okay, it has been taken. So now how do we see this token value? So the moment you install Datree automatically creates a Datree directory. Okay, so let's do ls minus a. So we're going to see this Datree directory. So go into that directory and you should see configure config.yaml config.yaml. So if I open config.yaml, I should see my token. You can see my token. My token is here, as well as my client ID is here. All right, great, great, perfect. Okay, so once you've done that, you've already connected your cluster to that tree. So that's what you do. So once you come to your policy, you see different policies. It's active because policy as code is enabled. Okay, policy as code is enabled. Let me disable that. Come back here. Settings telling me policy as code disabled. All right. So I've disabled this. So I'll come to policy. We are just there anyway. We are there. Okay. Now let me now come to policy. Now since I have integrated my accounts. I've integrated my accounts, my on Kubernetes cluster. I've integrated my cluster to Datree. All right, my dashboard, my Datree dashboard. All right, I'm going to see the different policies. All right, we are at that section now of policy. If you see very well, that policy check field. All right, because I've set it's already set by default that you should ensure that each container has a configure CPU limit. All right. So as for best practice, all right, for best practice, you know, every deployments or every container must have a CPU limit, CPU request, liveness probe, memory limits, memory request, and readiness probe. These are defaults, all right. This comes into a concept we call quality of service, all right, quality of service. Okay, but I wouldn't want to go into depth in that for now. Okay, so but these are the things that have been set up for me by default, all right, by default from that tree. But if I don't want to monitor if I want my policy check to get past this phase, I can come to my dashboard and toggle them off. You can see ensure deployment has more than one replica. Okay, this is there. Let me check. This is default. They have 21 rules active. They have 21 rules active. So if I look for let me search for this. Ensure that container has this. Let me copy it, bring it here, search for it. So this is it. It's on already. I'll put it off. It's off. I'll look for the next one, which is ensure container has configure requests. Same thing. Let me just change this uh, to request. All right, so request is coming. I'm going to put it off as well. So what next? Ensure that configure lively probe, liveness probe. Go to the end. Configure liveness probe. I'm going to put it off. Okay. What next? Ensure memory limits and readiness probe. Okay. Um, readiness, put it off. I don't want to do all those checks. I want to get past those checks. What again? Memory, so put it off and put it off. Okay, so I've toggled off those policy checks. So if I try to run my check one more time, so if I do what's it called, my Datree test deployment, you would see that it's going to skip. It's going to tell me that policy passing policy what check, because I have put off those um those rules. I'll put off those rules. All right. So let me put on back the rules. Let me put back on those rules. Put back on those rules. Memory is on. This is on. Let's go back. What else? CPU. CPU is on. These are on. Okay. Let me go back. What else? Liveliness. Liveliness is on. Let's go back. And let's go back. Readiness is on. Okay, so if I come back and run the same, this should fail, because on my deployment these rules are not defined. These requests are not defined. I'm going to bring a what's it called, a manifest file that define all of these. Okay, so they are failing. But these two validations are going through, but this is not going through. Okay, so the same thing. I can also create a policy and assign the number of rules I need. So if I create a policy, let me say I create a policy. Let me give it a name. Policy. Let me call it demo. All right, demo. And in this demo, I create. This is demo rules. There's no rule active on it. There's no rule active. Okay. So now I want to use my manifest against this demo rule. So this is what I would do. This demo policy, sorry. So this is what I would do. I'll come here and I will recall my command. I'll say Datree test deployment /p flag means specify the policy which you want to use against your manifest. Okay, by default, if you don't specify anything, your manifest is going to be applied against default policy. But in this context, I'm not. I'm specific about it. All right. I'm intentional about it. So I'm using a different rule policy I've already defined. So policy is what? Demo. So this is how you do it. So once I hit enter, it's going to get past all the checks because I've not assigned any rule. Okay, I've not assigned any rule. So let's look for rule assignment. If I come to this guy, edit. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. So let me just add some rules to this guy. So let's say replica set, anything that has to do with replica. Let me look for replica. So ensure deployment has more than one replica. If I put it on, all right. Ensure HB has blah, blah, blah. This for replica. So if I go to memory, memory request, I should have memory request. Should I want to have memory limit? Okay. We've seen that. Okay, that's okay. Now, that's fine. Let me refresh. It gets populated. Can you see now? We now have sorry. We now have three in this policy. In this policy, we have three rules active. So if I come back here now and try to run that guy against that policy, I should get now it's telling me that ensure each container has a configured memory limit. Ensure each container has a configured memory request. There were three policies, and it's like one got passed. Which one is that? Let's check. That was replica. Ensure deployment has more than one replica. Let's check if this deployment really have more than one replica. So if I say cat deployment, I'm going to grep that part that says replica. All right, asterisk. You can see my replica has in this deployment, my deployment has more than one replica. So that rule got passed. Okay, so let me see how I can set up quickly. Let me set up what's it called? Let me set up the quality of service and I'll be right back. Okay. Let's enable those. I have those features here. Resources. So in here, I have resources, request, memory request is this, CPU request is this as well, and the limit, memory limit is this, and the CPU limit is this. So this is request limit, sorry, resources. Okay, so let's try now. So if I recall Datree and against my policy. Let's see if all that will get passed. Now, I'm having problem with validation. Okay, validation. Yam deploy. Where am I having this problem? CPU. Resources. Container. Shoot. Mm, okay, this should be it. Mm, okay, validation. It's okay. The challenge I had was just validation. So deploy, and I had to make sure that my resource identifier is in the same line with the pod identifier. So yeah, so you can see that from this policy, where's that policy? Demo policy, I have three rules. Okay, I have three active rules. So the active rules are replica, memory limits, and CPU limits. So that's why you see um, my validation is being passed. So if I hit enter, all is working for me. YAML validation passed, Kubernetes validation passed, and policy check also passed. So this is how you constrain these checks using what kubectl in your Kubernetes cluster. So the next thing we need to do quickly because of time, let's see how we can integrate Datree with your pipelines. All right. So you can also integrate Datree with pipeline. It's just easy, simple, easy. You can integrate them with GitHub workflows, Circle CI, Travis CI, GitLab, Jenkins, Drone Pipeline, Azure Pipeline, CodeFresh, and a lot. All right. So my concentration is just on Jenkins pipeline. Just simple. So just click on Jenkins pipeline and you see the implementation. So easy. So easy. All right. So this is it. So in your Jenkins process pipeline, you would want to have a stage, yes, that check for misconfiguration in your Kubernetes manifest. All right, in your Kubernetes manifest. So you see what we did about that tree token. So that tree token is from your account. So this is where you get your that tree token from. Go to your account settings and token management. This is your token. All right, this is your token. So just use that in your pipeline. Put it here in your pipeline, or you can pass it as an environment variable and call the value. All right, call the environment variable. So that's it. You can define this. Yeah, this is what you do. You define this in Jenkins, right? And give the value and call it. And this you also and at this level you also firing what your manifest. So that tree tests all your manifest only Kubernetes files. So this is how you integrate that tree with your CIC, your CI tool, all right? Your CI tool. I hope, yeah. So that brings us to the end of the introduction of Datree. Yeah, you can see how the demo we did on how to check for misconfiguration in a Kubernetes manifest. All right, so that being said, I will be calling today's video if we need to. All right, I'll be bringing today's video to an end. So I yeah. So you can always try out that tree, look into it, and see how you can integrate it in your CI/CD pipeline, and voila, you should be set. All right, should be set. So it's a great tool. Just try and try it out. So thank you for your support. Thank you so much for actually for following up with Frankie's teaches DevOps. Frankie's teaches DevOps, and yeah, please just kindly share, like, comment, give feedback, and all is well. Thank you. Peace out, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.